The psychology of color. Level C. 1. Advance. Color surrounds us every day, shaping our perceptions, emotions, and decisions in ways we rarely notice. From the crimson glow of a sunset to the cool blue of a corporate logo, colors wield a subtle but profound influence over the human mind. The study of this phenomenon, known as color psychology, explores how different hues can affect mood, cognition, and behavior, and how artists, designers, and marketers exploit these effects to evoke specific emotional responses. The origins of color psychology date back centuries, intertwining art, philosophy, and science. Ancient civilizations attributed spiritual and symbolic meanings to colors: red for life and blood, blue for divinity, green for fertility, and black for death or mourning. Artists and scholars recognized that certain colors could provoke feelings of warmth, tranquility, or urgency. However, it wasn't until the 19th and 20th centuries that psychologists began studying the empirical effects of color on human behavior. Modern research confirms that color can influence everything from perception of time to appetite, stress levels, and productivity. For instance, warm colors like red, orange, and yellow tend to increase heart rate and stimulate excitement, while cool colors, such as blue and green, induce calmness and relaxation. This physiological impact occurs because colors affect the brain's limbic system, the part responsible for emotion, memory, and arousal. Artists intuitively harness these effects, using color to guide attention, evoke specific feelings, and enhance storytelling. Consider the world of painting. Throughout history, great artists have deliberately chosen palettes to convey mood. Van Gogh's swirling yellows and deep blues in Starry Night do more than depict the night sky. They evoke a sense of wonder, melancholy, and intensity simultaneously. Similarly, Rothko's large blocks of color aim to immerse viewers in a meditative or emotional state. By isolating hues and contrasts, these artists manipulate perception, making colors not just visual phenomena, but emotional triggers. The psychology of color extends beyond fine art. Graphic designers, advertisers, and filmmakers carefully select colors to elicit desired reactions. In marketing, red often signals urgency or excitement, which is why clearance sales frequently use red signage. Blue conveys trust and stability, making it a staple in corporate logos. Green evokes nature, growth, and health, often used in wellness and environmental branding. These choices are not arbitrary. They exploit deep-rooted psychological associations cultivated through culture, biology, and personal experience. Cultural context plays a significant role in color perception. While red may signify danger in Western cultures, it represents luck and prosperity in China. Similarly, white is associated with purity in many Western traditions, but symbolizes mourning in some Eastern societies. Artists and communicators must consider these cultural nuances to ensure that their use of color achieves the intended emotional impact. The influence of color also extends to architecture and interior design. Hospitals often employ soft greens and blues to create calming environments, while schools may use brighter, more stimulating colors to foster creativity and engagement. Restaurants frequently incorporate red and orange tones to encourage appetite and social interaction. These examples illustrate that color psychology is not just theoretical. It is actively applied in real-world contexts to shape experiences. Advances in neuroscience have further deepened our understanding of color's effects. Studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, reveal that exposure to certain colors activates brain regions associated with emotion and memory. For example, seeing red can heighten attention and focus, while exposure to blue can enhance creativity and problem-solving abilities. These findings provide empirical evidence for what artists and designers have long known intuitively. Color is a powerful tool for influencing human behavior. Moreover, color can interact with individual differences, such as personality traits and emotional states. An introverted person may respond differently to bright, intense colors than an extroverted individual. Similarly, personal experiences and memories can shape how one perceives a particular hue. A shade of green that reminds someone of childhood forests may evoke nostalgia and comfort, while the same green might seem dull or unremarkable to another. Artists exploit these subjective responses by creating layers of meaning within their color choices, allowing for complex emotional narratives. Lighting and context further complicate color perception. The same hue can appear entirely different under natural sunlight, artificial lighting, or shadow. Impressionist painters, for instance, mastered the interplay of light and color to evoke mood and depth. Monet's water lilies change dramatically depending on the time of day and atmospheric conditions, demonstrating that color is never static, but dynamic and context-dependent. Contemporary digital artists also manipulate color digitally, using gradients, contrasts, and saturation to guide viewers' emotional reactions. Color also functions symbolically. In literature and visual storytelling, authors and directors often use colors as metaphors. A red scarf in a film may symbolize love, danger, or passion depending on the narrative context. Filmmakers such as Wes Anderson or Guillermo del Toro use highly stylized color palettes to create distinct emotional atmospheres. By carefully controlling color, they guide audiences' subconscious responses, heightening suspense, empathy, or aesthetic pleasure. Interestingly, colors can influence perceived temperature, weight, and size. Warm colors make objects appear closer or larger, while cool colors can create a sense of distance or lightness. This phenomenon is used in art and design to manipulate spatial perception. For instance, a painter may use warm tones in the foreground and cooler shades in the background to create depth, guiding the viewer's eye and shaping emotional impact. Marketing and branding strategies provide some of the clearest examples of color manipulation. Global brands spend millions researching color associations, ensuring that packaging, logos, and advertisements evoke precise emotions. Coca-Cola's red signifies excitement and energy. Starbucks's green conveys nature and relaxation. Luxury brands often use black to evoke elegance and sophistication. In each case, color is carefully selected to align with psychological expectations and emotional resonance. In addition to marketing, color influences behavior and decision-making. Studies have shown that students perform differently in classrooms painted in various colors. Gamblers in casinos may be subtly influenced by color schemes designed to increase risk-taking or excitement. Even small elements, such as the color of a menu or website button, can significantly impact choices and engagement. Artists and designers leverage this knowledge to direct attention and provoke responses subtly, yet effectively. Finally, the psychology of color intersects with emotion, regulation, and therapy. Certain hues can reduce anxiety, promote focus, or enhance mood. Art therapy often incorporates color selection as a means for individuals to express emotions and achieve psychological balance. By understanding and manipulating color, artists and therapists can facilitate communication, reflection, and emotional release, demonstrating the profound influence that hues can have on human experience. Building on the principles explored in the first part, it is important to examine how contemporary artists and designers strategically manipulate color to craft complex emotional narratives. Color is not merely decorative. It functions as a form of communication that can convey subtle nuances of mood, tension, or symbolism without a single word. Understanding these strategies allows us to appreciate the depth of visual storytelling and to recognize how color shapes perception in everyday life. One prominent technique involves contrast and harmony. Artists often juxtapose complementary colors to create visual tension, drawing the viewer's attention to specific elements or evoking emotional dissonance. For example, pairing bright red with green creates a vibrant, dynamic effect that can signify conflict or excitement. In contrast, analogous color schemes, composed of colors adjacent on the color wheel, produce a harmonious and calming impression. Painters such as Claude Monet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir mastered subtle harmonic schemes, using soft transitions to induce tranquility, nostalgia, or romantic sentiment. Beyond traditional painting, digital art and multimedia design have expanded the palette of emotional possibilities. Digital artists manipulate saturation, brightness, and opacity to guide the viewer's attention and mood. Increasing saturation can intensify emotional response, making an image feel more vivid or urgent, while desaturation can evoke melancholy or timelessness. Adjusting brightness influences perceived spatial relationships and psychological weight, subtly altering the viewer's experience of the composition. Through these nuanced adjustments, color becomes a dynamic instrument for emotional modulation. The cinematic world offers further insights into color's psychological impact. Filmmakers use color grading to craft mood and narrative coherence. For instance, horror films often employ cold, desaturated blues and grays to evoke fear and unease, while romantic comedies may rely on warm pinks and yellows to create comfort and intimacy. Directors such as Stanley Kubrick and Wong Kar-wai are renowned for meticulously designing color palettes that complement character development and plot tension. The psychological power of these choices lies in the subconscious associations that viewers form with specific hues, enhancing the storytelling experience. Color also operates as a symbolic language. In visual narratives, colors convey abstract concepts and emotional subtext. Red may signal love, anger, or danger. Blue can suggest loyalty, isolation, or calm. Yellow may communicate joy or caution. By encoding symbolic meaning within color, artists can transmit complex ideas efficiently and evoke layered responses. This interplay of symbolism and perception underscores the sophistication of color as a psychological tool. The cultural dimension of color further complicates its emotional impact. Colors do not carry universal meaning. Their interpretation is influenced by social norms, traditions, and historical context. For example, while white often symbolizes purity in Western societies, it is associated with mourning in certain Eastern cultures. Similarly, purple historically denoted royalty due to the rarity and expense of purple dye, affecting perceptions of luxury and authority. Contemporary artists must navigate these cultural variations to ensure their color choices resonate with intended audiences. Psychology experiments reveal that color can influence cognitive performance and emotional regulation. For instance, studies show that exposure to blue environments can enhance focus and creativity, whereas red environments may increase alertness and attention to detail. This knowledge is applied in educational settings, workplace design, and even consumer behavior research. In essence, color shapes not only immediate emotional reactions, but also longer-term cognitive processes, subtly guiding thought patterns and decisions. Artists exploit these cognitive effects deliberately. In advertising, color is used to trigger memory recall and emotional attachment. Packaging designers select colors that convey brand identity while eliciting positive associations, fostering loyalty and preference. In interactive media, video game designers manipulate color to influence player behavior, signaling danger, reward, or narrative progression. The psychological sophistication of these strategies demonstrates that color is a potent tool, capable of shaping both perception and action. In therapeutic contexts, color plays a central role in art therapy and emotional healing. Patients often select colors intuitively, revealing subconscious emotions and facilitating self-expression. Warm, bright colors may indicate energy and optimism, while dark, muted tones might reveal sadness or introspection. By guiding patients through color selection and creation, therapists can foster insight, emotional regulation, and psychological resilience. This practical application underscores the profound influence of color on the human psyche. Moreover, modern neuroscience has begun to uncover the biological mechanisms underlying color perception. The human visual system processes wavelengths of light through photoreceptor cells in the retina, transmitting signals to the brain's visual cortex. These signals interact with regions responsible for emotion and memory, including the amygdala and hippocampus. This physiological pathway explains why certain colors evoke instinctual reactions. Red may trigger arousal or caution, while green can promote relaxation. Artists and designers, often intuitively, exploit these neuropsychological responses to craft emotionally resonant experiences. Color also interacts with temporal perception and environmental context. Time of day, lighting conditions, and surrounding colors influence how a hue is perceived and the emotional impact it generates. Impressionist painters, for example, manipulated light and shadow to create fluctuating moods throughout the day. Similarly, modern digital media utilizes dynamic color schemes that adapt to user interaction or narrative progression, enhancing immersion and emotional engagement. The interplay of temporal and contextual factors illustrates the complexity of color as a psychological instrument. In architecture and urban design, color shapes human experience in tangible ways. Hospitals, schools, and public spaces are designed with color psychology in mind to influence mood, behavior, and social interaction. Warm tones in communal areas may foster connection and energy, while cooler tones in private or contemplative spaces promote relaxation and reflection. By integrating color theory into spatial design, architects can enhance well-being, productivity, and emotional comfort. Artists also employ color temperature to manipulate spatial perception. Warm colors advance visually, creating a sense of intimacy or urgency, while cool colors recede, producing calm or expansive impressions. Painters such as J.M.W. Turner used these techniques to guide the viewer's gaze and amplify the narrative effect of landscapes, seascapes, and atmospheric phenomena. This mastery of color dynamics demonstrates that hues are not merely aesthetic choices, but tools for orchestrating emotional journeys. Finally, the psychology of color underscores the intimate relationship between perception, emotion, and creativity. By understanding how humans respond to hues, artists craft experiences that resonate on subconscious, emotional, and intellectual levels. Color becomes a universal language, capable of transcending words, culture, and context, while remaining deeply personal and subjective. In conclusion, the manipulation of color is one of the most subtle and powerful techniques in art and design. Artists, filmmakers, designers, and therapists exploit its psychological effects to communicate emotion, guide perception, and influence behavior. From the symbolic use of red and blue to the nuanced interplay of contrast, saturation, and light, color shapes human experience in ways that are simultaneously conscious and subconscious. By studying and appreciating this intricate science, we gain insight into both the external world and the inner workings of our own minds. Ultimately, the psychology of color reveals that every hue carries meaning, every contrast evokes feeling, and every palette is a tool for emotional storytelling. As observers, we may not always notice the deliberate choices behind the colors that surround us, but they are continuously influencing how we perceive, feel, and respond. Understanding this interplay between color and emotion enriches our experience of art, media, and daily life, reminding us that color is not just seen, it is felt,